Hemera was the primordial goddess of the day, born as a daughter of Erebos, the embodiment of darkness, and Nyx, the personification of night, making her both sister and wife to Aether, the heavenly light that fills the sky. Each evening, Hemera's mother Nyx would draw her dark veil across the heavens, cloaking the shining blue of the heavenly ether and bringing night to the earth. Then, with the coming of morning, Hemera would disperse her mother's dark mists, bathing the earth once again in the bright light of the ether, renewing the cycle of day. In ancient cosmogonies, night and day were understood as actual substances, distinct and separate from the sun, which ruled the day but was not its source. Hemera, therefore, was the divine substance of day itself, closely connected with Hera, the queen of the heavens, and Ios, the goddess of the dawn who opened the day with her rosy fingers. However, unlike these goddesses, who often appear in myths as characters, Hemera was more like a force or element of nature, less a person with stories and actions, and more a part of the natural order, a divine presence representing daylight. In Greek mythology, her importance was somewhat overshadowed by Ios, whose role as the bringer of dawn took precedence in stories, leaving Hemera largely irrelevant in myth tales, but essential in the cosmic order of the world's beginning and rhythm. The family of Hemera is rooted deep in the earliest layers of myth. Her parents were Erebos, the dark region of shadow and gloom, and Nyx, the night itself. According to Hesiod's Theogony and Cicero's De Natura Deorum, Hemera was born from the union of these two primordial beings. Other accounts offer variations on her parentage, naming only Erebos or pairing Kronos with Nyx, or even describing her as a child of chaos, the primordial void. From her union with Aether, the clear sky or heavenly light, Hemera herself bore children who were great elements of the cosmos, such as Gaia, the earth, Uranos, the sky, and Thalassa, the sea. These offspring represent the physical world, born from the meeting of day and heavenly light, highlighting Hemera's role as a fundamental force that brings life and order to the universe. Alternate spellings of Hemera's name reflect the various dialects of ancient Greek: Hemer in Ionian, Amera in Doric, and Amara in Locrian, each signifying the same essential concept of day. Artifacts like the Athenian black figure Lekythos from the 5th century BC, now housed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, depict Nyx, Hemera, Heos, and Helios, illustrating the importance of these figures in ancient Greek culture. Hesiod's Theogony gives a vivid description of the early cosmos, where first came chaos, the vast chasm or void, and then Gaia, the earth with wide bosom, followed by Tartaros, the deep and dark pit beneath the earth, and Eros, the force of love and attraction that stirs life and motion among gods and men. From chaos came Erebos and Nyx, and from Nyx came Aether and Hemera, born from a loving union with Erebos. Gaia, the earth, then bore Uranos, the starry sky, who would cover her on all sides, forming the visible heavens. Hesiod also describes the meeting place of night and day at the earth's ends, where the roots of the earth, sea, and Tartaros lie. There stands the home of Nyx, wrapped in dark clouds, a place of shadows and mystery. Before this home stands Atlas, son of Iapetos, steadfastly holding the wide heavens upon his shoulders. At this great threshold of bronze, Nyx and Hemera meet as they pass by each other. One enters the dark house as the other steps out, but the house never holds both at the same time. This eternal dance between night and day is a symbol of the endless cycle of time and nature. Hemera's role as the goddess of day is thus one of cosmic balance, a necessary force that counters darkness and brings light and clarity to the world. She is not a goddess of stories and adventures, but rather a fundamental power that keeps the universe in motion, a divine substance that makes life possible by bringing daylight and revealing the world in all its forms. Though her presence is subtle and her myths few, Hemera stands at the heart of the ancient Greek understanding of how the cosmos works, representing the shining, life-giving force that rises each morning to renew the earth and drive away the shadows of night. In ancient Greek thought, the relationship between night and day was seen not just as a cycle of time, but as a cosmic dance between two powerful beings, each holding their place in the order of the universe. One such description tells us that night and day never meet fully in the same place. While one passes over the earth, the other remains at home, waiting patiently for the time to begin its journey. This idea shows us that day and night are separate but linked forces, each ruling their own time and space. The one who travels carries with her all-seeing light, which illuminates the earth and allows life and activity to continue. Alcman, a Greek lyric poet from the 7th century BC, offers a poetic insight where, at the same moment, several primordial forces come into being. Poros, sometimes thought to be Chronos or time itself, Tekmor, who may represent necessity, and Skotos, or darkness, which corresponds to Erebos. Alongside these forces came Amar, or Hemera, the day, Malana, the moon, and again Skotos as darkness, which shows a complex interplay where light and darkness exist side by side in the earliest cosmic moments. The word days here does not merely mean daylight, but also carries the idea of the sun's presence. In the beginning, there was only darkness, but as these divine forces differentiated, light was born, bringing the possibility of day and night. Bacchylides, a 5th century BC lyric poet, calls Hemera the radiant daughter of Chronos, or time, and Nyx, night, describing her as a shining presence marking the passage of time, such as the 16th day of the 50th month, suggesting how ancient Greeks saw day as tied to the flow of time itself. Another ancient fragment mentions the far-shining ambrosial face of Hemera, a radiant being associated with horses, perhaps linking her to the movement of the sun and the turning of the day across the sky. Philostratus the Elder, writing centuries later in the 3rd century AD, describes an ancient painting showing the tragic fall of Phaethon, the son of Helios, the sun god, who loses control of his father's chariot. In this image, Nyx, the night, is driving Hemera, the day, away from the noonday sky as the sun plunges toward the earth, drawing stars behind it. This moment captures the transition from day to night, with the Horai, the goddesses of the hours, abandoning their posts and fleeing toward the rising darkness, symbolizing the endless change between light and shadow. The Roman mythographer Pseudo-Hyginus offers a genealogy that places these beings firmly in the beginning of the world. From Kalagina, or mist, came chaos. From chaos were born Nox, Nyx, night, Dies, Hemera, day, Erebus, darkness, and Ether, light. From the union of Ether and Dies came Terra, Gaia, earth, Kalem, Oranos, sky, and Mar, Thalassa, sea. This lineage highlights how day and light together brought forth the physical world, the earth, sky, and sea, showing Hemera as a fundamental creative force. Cicero, the Roman rhetorician of the 1st century BC, confirms this view, stating that if Kalem, Oranos, is a god, then his parents Aether, upper air, and Dies, Hemera, must also be gods, children of Erebus, darkness, and Nyx, night. This divine family illustrates how the ancient world understood the balance and interplay of darkness and light, night and day, as essential to the cosmos. Over time, Hemera came to be identified closely with the goddess Eos, the bringer of dawn. In some versions of the myths, they are considered the same deity, both representing light and the beginning of the day. Pausanias, a Greek traveler and writer of the 2nd century AD, mentions this identification in his description of Greece, explaining how art and literature merged these figures into one concept. This blending shows how the ancient Greeks saw the natural progression of night into dawn, and then full day as a continuous unfolding of light, with Hemera's presence essential to the coming of morning. and the renewal of life. Thus, Hemera, as the personification of day, stands as a crucial figure in the cosmic order, embodying the light that chases away darkness, the force that drives the rhythm of time, and the mother of the world itself. Her story, though not filled with dramatic adventures, is woven deeply into the fabric of ancient Greek understanding of the universe, reminding us that day and night are eternal partners in the dance of existence, each necessary and powerful in their own right. In ancient Greek art and literature, Hemera, the goddess of the day, is shown in various stories and images connected with beauty, love, and sorrow, often intertwined with other gods and heroes. Pausanias, the Greek traveler and writer from the 2nd century AD, describes images in Athens where Hemera is depicted carrying away Kephalos, also called Cephalus, who was said to be in love with her. This scene reveals a connection between the goddess of day and the mortal or heroic figures of myth, showing how the daylight itself was imagined as a powerful and sometimes overwhelming force that could sweep away those it favored or loved. Pausanias further notes a similar depiction on the throne of Apollo at Amyclae in Laconia, where Kephalos is shown carried off by Hemera because of his beauty, again emphasizing how the goddess is linked with allure and attraction, perhaps symbolizing how the day captures the attention and hearts of those who live under its light. In Olympia, Pausanias describes a semicircular stone pedestal that features the gods Zeus, Thetis, and Hemera together, entreating Zeus on behalf of their children. This image places Hemera among the great divine figures as an intercessor, involved in the affairs of heroes such as Achilles and Memnon, who are represented on the edges of the pedestal as combatants. This suggests that Hemera's role extended beyond just the coming of light. She was also part of the divine world, influencing mortal fate and heroic struggles. Philostratus the Elder, a Greek rhetorician of the 3rd century AD, recounts a painting that depicts the funeral of Memnon, a warrior son of Eos or Hemera, the dawn goddess. In this scene, Eos is mourning her son, which causes Helios, the sun, to be downcast and saddened as well. Helios consoles Hemera, showing a family of divine forces connected deeply to the cycles of day and night, light and dark, life and death. In this telling, the names Eos and Hemera are used interchangeably, reflecting how over time these figures of dawn and day merged in the imagination and stories of the Greeks. Callistratus, writing in the 4th century AD, describes a statue of Memnon made of Ethiopian stone, which was said to become vocal and express emotion. According to his account, this statue was filled with joy when Hemera, or day, arrived, and it groaned in sorrow when she departed, symbolizing the rise and fall of light across the land. The statue's voice represented the feelings of longing and happiness tied to the coming and going of daylight, showing how deeply the Greeks connected the cycle of day and night to emotional and natural rhythms. In another description, Callistratus tells of this statue in Ethiopia saluting the rising Hemera, the day, by expressing delight at her arrival and uttering mournful groans as day declined to night. The statue, through its voice, soothed the sorrows of Hemera and caused her to stop searching for her son, a story which may symbolize the temporary peace or acceptance that comes with the passing of time and the daily cycle. These images and stories present Hemera not just as a distant or abstract force, but as a living presence, intertwined with human experience, love, loss, and the natural order of day and night. At the same time, the goddess Nyx, or night, holds an equally important place in this cosmic balance. Like Hemera, Nyx is represented in ancient art, such as on an Athenian black figure Lakythos from the 5th century BC, where she appears as a powerful goddess of the night. Together, Hemera and Nyx embody the eternal rhythm of light and darkness, the cycle that governs the world and the lives of gods and mortals alike. This interplay between day and night, between Hemera and Nyx, reveals the ancient Greek understanding of the universe as a place of constant movement and change, where light chases darkness and darkness returns again, each one necessary to the other's existence. In this eternal dance, the figures of Hemera and Nyx remind us of the natural world's harmony, the passage of time, and the emotions tied to the rising and setting of the sun, as well as the human stories connected to these powerful forces of light and shadow. Nyx. Nyx was the ancient goddess of the night, one of the very first beings to emerge at the dawn of creation. Known as a primordial god, or protogenos, she was born from chaos, which means chaos or the void, often understood as the empty air or the original gap from which all things sprang. Nyx's nature was deeply tied to the darkness that covers the world when the sun goes down, and she was often seen as the very essence of night itself, a veil of dark mist drawn across the sky to hide the shining light of Aether, the bright and glowing blue of the heavens. Nyx was not just a figure of myth, but a symbol of the night's power, mystery, and stillness, an ancient and shadowy force that shaped the rhythm of the cosmos. Her opposite and counterpart was Hemera, the goddess of the day, who pushed back the dark mists and scattered the night's shadows at dawn, bringing light and awakening the earth once more. Nyx's family origins, as described in ancient texts like Hesiod's Theogony and others, show that she came from chaos, and through her union with Erebos, the personification of darkness, she bore several important children who played key roles in the universe. Among her children were Aether, also called Aether, who represented the upper bright air and light of the heavens, and Hemera, the day itself, who worked alongside her mother to bring the balance of night and day. In some versions, Nyx is said to have had these children with Erebos, while in others, such as the fragment from the poet Bacchylides, Hemera is born from Nyx and Kronos, the personification of time. Nyx was also the mother of many other powerful and often fearsome beings. She alone gave birth to a brood of dark spirits and daimons, which are divine forces or spirits that embody different aspects of the darker side of human experience and nature. These offspring included the three fates, who controlled the destinies of gods and mortals alike, determining the length and course of every life. She also bore Thanatos, the spirit of death, who gently guides souls from the world of the living to the underworld, and Hypnos, the god of sleep, who brings rest and dreams to all creatures. Other children were Eris, the goddess of strife and discord, and several spirits representing pain, misery, and other difficult parts of existence. Nyx's role in the cosmos was vast and important, for through her children she influenced not only the natural cycles of day and night, but also the deeper forces that govern life, death, fate, and human emotion. In ancient art, Nyx was often depicted as a powerful and mysterious figure. Sometimes she appeared as a winged goddess, her dark wings spreading wide to cover the sky in shadow. At other times, she was shown as a charioteer, guiding the night across the heavens in her swift vehicle. Artists also crowned her with an aureole or halo made of swirling dark mists, symbolizing her control over the night's veil that covers the world. Nyx's image captured both beauty and fear, the calm of night and its unknown dangers, the peace of darkness and the mystery that comes with it. Various ancient writers mention her family and offspring, confirming her place among the earliest gods. According to Hesiod, Nyx and Erebos gave birth to Aether and Hemera, linking night and darkness to light and day. Other sources add to her genealogy, naming children such as Eros, the god of love, and Ouranos, the sky god, suggesting that from night itself came both creation and desire. The Orphic tradition, a mystical and religious interpretation of Greek myth, includes Nyx as a mother to cosmic forces such as Ouranos and the stars, showing how night is the source of heavenly bodies and the sky itself. These offspring, the daimones, represent the many spirits that influence the world unseen, giving Nyx a role not only in the cycle of day and night, but also in the shaping of the universe's fate and the hidden forces that move beneath the surface of life. Through all these stories and images, Nyx stands as a figure of primal power, the very darkness that both covers and connects everything. She is not merely the absence of light, but a presence in her own right, one that commands respect and awe. Her relationship with Hemera, the day, symbolizes the eternal dance of light and dark, of rest and activity, of endings and beginnings. Nyx's children embody the forces that govern existence, from the gentle release of sleep and death to the harshness of pain and strife, reflecting the complex nature of life under the ever-turning sky. In this way, Nyx is one of the foundational figures of Greek mythology, representing the night's mystery and power, the source of many gods and spirits, and a mother whose influence stretches through all of creation. Her veil of dark mist continues to fall each evening, hiding the bright blue heavens and the shining stars, only to be lifted again by Hemera, who ushers in the day and the light of the aether, continuing the endless cycle of night and day that shapes the world. Nyx, the ancient goddess of night, was a powerful figure in Greek mythology whose offspring were many and varied, representing a wide range of dark and mysterious forces that shape the world and human experience. According to Hesiod's Theogony, Nyx bore numerous children without a father, signifying her unique and solitary power as a primordial deity. Among her children were Moros, representing doom or fate, Kur, spirits of violent death, Thanatos, the personification of death itself, and Hypnos, the god of sleep who brings rest and dreams to mortals and gods alike. Alongside them were the Oneiroi, the spirits of dreams who influence the visions that come to people when they sleep. Momos, the spirit of blame and censure, also came from Nyx, as did Oitsis, representing misery and suffering. The Hesperides, nymphs of the evening and guardians of a blissful garden, were her daughters as well, along with the Keres, female death spirits associated with violent deaths. The Moirai, or Fates, who weave the destiny of all beings, were among Nyx's children, wielding control over life's ultimate outcomes. Nemesis, the goddess of retribution and balance, came from her, as did Apate, the spirit of deceit, and Philotis, embodying friendship and affection. Geras, the personification of old age, and Eris, the goddess of strife and discord, were also born of Nyx alone, highlighting her role as a mother of both gentle and harsh forces. In another ancient source, Hesiod's Works and Days, Eris is again named among her offspring, emphasizing the theme of conflict emerging from night. Homer's Iliad also mentions Hypnos and Thanatos as children of Nyx, underlining their close association with night and death. Pausanias, the Greek traveler and writer, refers to the Nemeses, plural forms of Nemesis, as daughters of Nyx, reinforcing her connection to justice and punishment. In Roman mythography, Hyginus's preface lists an even broader range of children attributed to Nyx and Erebos, the personification of darkness, further extending the family to include Moros, fate, Geras, old age, Thanatos, death, Kur, destruction, Sophrosyne, moderation, Hypnos, sleep, the Oneiroi, dreams, Eros, love, and other spirits such as Epiphron, Porphyrion, Epiphos, Eris, discord, Oisis, misery, Hybris, arrogance, Nemesis, Euphrosyne, mirth, Philotis, friendship, Elios, mercy, Styx, the river of hatred, the Moirai, fates, and the Hesperides, nymphs of the evening. Cicero's De Natura Deorum also presents a long list of Nyx's offspring with Erebos, which includes Eros, love, Dolos, trickery, Deimos, terror, Ponos, hardship, Nemesis, retribution, Moros, fate, Geras, old age, Thanatos, death, Keres, death spirits, Oisis, misery, Momos, blame, Philotes, affection, Apate, deceit, and others like the Moirai, fates, the Hesperides, and the Oneiroi, dreams. In Greek tragedy, particularly in Aeschylus's play Eumenides, the Erinyes, also known as the Furies, goddesses of vengeance, are connected with Nyx as ancient spirits who punish wrongdoing. The Moirai, or fates, who determine the destiny of gods and men, also feature prominently in Greek literature, with some traditions naming Kronos, or time, as their father. The wide array of offspring attributed to Nyx illustrates her importance in myth as the source of many forces that govern fate, death, sleep, dreams, strife, and justice. She was seen as a powerful and sometimes terrifying figure, one whose presence affected gods and humans alike. Homer describes Nyx as a force even Zeus feared, showing her strength and influence in the divine world. Night, or Nyx, is one of the very first beings created in the ancient cosmogonies, highlighting her role as a primordial deity whose powers extend beyond the simple passage of time from day to night. She embodies the darkness that covers the world and gives birth to forces that shape life and death, fate and destiny, joy and suffering. Through her many children, whether they are the spirits of doom and death, the bringers of sleep and dreams, or the agents of justice and discord, Nyx's influence permeates the cosmos. She is the mother of both peaceful and fearful spirits, balancing the unseen forces that govern the universe. Her presence marks the boundaries between light and dark, life and death, calm and chaos. Nyx's legacy in myth is vast, making her one of the most important figures in the ancient Greek understanding of the world's beginnings and the mysteries that lie within the night. In the beginning, before anything else existed, there was chaos, a great empty space or gap that held the potential for all things to come. From this vast emptiness emerged the first primordial beings, among them Nyx, the goddess of night, who was also the sister of Erebus, the personification of darkness. Together, Nyx and Erebus became the parents of Aether, the bright upper air that fills the sky with light, and Hemera, the personification of day, who brings the world from darkness into brightness. This early cosmogony is described by Hesiod in his Theogony, where the sequence of creation begins with chaos, then Gaia, the earth, who spreads wide beneath the heavens, and Tartaros, the deep pit beneath the earth, alongside Eros, the god of love who stirs desire in gods and mortals alike. Nyx, born from chaos, is a fundamental force, embodying the night itself, the dark veil that covers the earth and sky when the sun retreats. She is not only the mother of Aether and Hemera, but also the mother of many powerful and mysterious beings, often born without any partner. These include Moros, the force of doom or fate that leads all to their destined end; the Keres, spirits of violent death who hover over battlefields; Thanatos, the gentle but inevitable god of death; Hypnos, who brings sleep and rest to the weary; and the Oneiroi, the spirits of dreams who weave visions into the minds of sleeping mortals. Nyx also bore Momos, the spirit of blame and censure, who points out faults and mistakes; Oises, who embodies misery and suffering; and the Hesperides, nymphs who guard the golden light of evening, and the precious fruits in their sacred garden. Among her daughters were the Moirai, or fates, who control the thread of life for every being, deciding the time of birth and death and the fate that none can escape. Nemesis, the goddess of retribution who balances justice and punishes hubris, is also among Nyx's offspring. Other beings associated with deceit, affection, old age, strife, and discord all trace their lineage back to Nyx, highlighting her role as the source of many forces that shape the world's moral and natural order. Later poets often portrayed Nyx as a winged goddess, sometimes shown riding a chariot cloaked in darkness, moving silently across the sky with stars accompanying her course, symbolizing the passage of night across the world. Euripides describes her as a powerful figure who commands respect and fear, even among the gods. and she is sometimes depicted crowned with a halo of mist or shadows. Her home is said to lie in the depths of Hades, the shadowy underworld realm where souls go after death, further connecting her to the mysteries of darkness and the unknown. A famous statue of Nyx, created by the sculptor Rauecus, once stood at Ephesus, a testament to her importance in ancient worship and culture. On the chest of Cypselus, a richly decorated wooden chest, Nyx was shown carrying the gods of sleep and death in her arms as small children, symbolizing her role as their mother and protector. The Orphic tradition, another ancient source of Greek myth, offers a slightly different genealogy, naming Nyx as the daughter of Eros, the primordial god of love, placing her within a cosmic cycle of creation that blends darkness and desire. In this view, Nyx still remains a primeval force, giving birth to the bright day and the upper air of Aether, marking her as a mother of opposites, darkness and light, night and day, sleep and awakening. Bacchylides, a Greek lyric poet, also praises Nyx, describing her as the mother of Hemera, the radiant day, born with Chronos, or time, emphasizing the eternal cycle of night giving way to day and the passage of time itself. Aristophanes, in his comedic play Birds, echoes this cosmogony by presenting the earliest beings as Chaos, Nyx, Erebus, and Tartaros, all forming the foundations of the universe before the earth and sky took shape. Nyx's presence at the beginning of everything highlights her vital role in Greek mythology as a primordial deity who not only embodies the night, but also gives birth to many essential aspects of existence. She is both a symbol of darkness and mystery, and a mother who brings forth forces that govern fate, death, sleep, dreams, justice, and strife. Through Nyx and her offspring, the ancient Greeks explained the balance and cycle of life and death, light and dark, order and chaos, which continue to shape the world and human experience. Her enduring presence in myth reveals a deep respect for the power of night and darkness, not just as absence of light, but as an active and creative force woven into the very fabric of the cosmos from its earliest moments. At the very beginning, before earth, air, or heaven had any form or presence, there was only the vast emptiness and the dark forces of night and darkness. Nyx, the black-winged goddess of night, is said to have laid a germless egg deep within the boundless darkness of Erebus, the realm of shadow and gloom. From this mysterious egg, after countless long ages passed, the radiant and graceful Eros, the primordial god of love with shining golden wings, emerged. This birth marked a crucial moment in the creation of the universe, as Eros embodied desire and creative power, stirring life and movement into the cosmos. Nyx, as the mother of many celestial and divine beings, also bore the Astra, the stars that twinkle in the night sky, lighting the darkness with their distant gleam. These stars were considered dear children of Nyx, born from the night itself to adorn the heavens. According to Orphic traditions, ancient and mystical teachings preserved in hymns and fragments, the first forces that shaped the cosmos included not only Nyx, but also Ananke, or inevitability, who was stern and unyielding, and Chronos, the personification of time, who twisted and wound his endless coils, birthing ether, the bright upper air filled with light, and Phanes, a two-faced and two-sexed god of generation and creation, who was considered the very first manifest being and was called Eros by later poets. Phanes, often seen as the bringer of life and light, is said to have entrusted his royal scepter, the symbol of cosmic rule, into the hands of Nyx, granting her dominion and power over the unfolding universe. In this way, Nyx held a place of great authority and mystery, bearing both the darkness of night and the key to cosmic order. The great Olympian Zeus, too, in ancient tales, received his prophesied rule from his father, Phanes, and from Nyx, who was both his ancestor and a powerful deity in her own right. Before Zeus, kingship passed from Nyx's son Ouranos, the sky, to Kronos, time, and then to Zeus himself, who would come to rule the gods on Mount Olympus. Nyx's influence stretched deeply into the mythic past, connecting the primal elements of the universe to the reign of the gods who shaped the world. In the epic poem Dionysiaca by Nonnus, written much later but drawing on ancient traditions, Nyx is described as the black-girdled goddess, the mother of Hypnos, sleep, who is portrayed as a dark-winged figure moving silently through the night. Hypnos himself plays a key role in the lives of gods and mortals, capable of soothing even the mighty Zeus into slumber. Nyx's power over sleep and death is profound, and she is shown as a guardian of these mysterious forces. The famous story from Homer's Iliad recounts how Hypnos, brother to Thanatos, death, was sent by Hera to put Zeus to sleep during a moment of divine conflict. Hypnos reassures Hera that although Zeus is powerful and wary, he can be calmed by the gentle touch of sleep, a gift from their mother Nyx. This shows Nyx's subtle but immense influence even over the king of the gods. The imagery of Nyx as a black-winged goddess, sometimes appearing in a dark chariot accompanied by stars, echoes through ancient poetry and art. She is often linked with the silent and deep forces of night, ruling over the shadows and the mysteries they hide. Her presence is not just the absence of light, but a powerful and active force shaping fate, dreams, death, and sleep. Her children, from the stars to the spirits of rest and endings, fill the cosmos with their influence. Nyx's connection to both creation and destruction makes her a fundamental figure in Greek myth, embodying the delicate balance between light and darkness, life and death, awakening and rest. Her role as a mother of gods and daimons, divine spirits, places her at the heart of the cosmic order, linking the earliest moments of the universe to the daily cycles experienced by mortals and immortals alike. Through Nyx, the Greeks understood night not as a mere backdrop for life, but as a powerful origin and source of many divine forces that govern existence itself. Along the sea, the fierce blasts of the stormy winds carried him far away to the strong-founded island of Kos, but all his friends were lost in the journey. Zeus, awakened in anger, struck fiercely throughout his house, searching beyond all others for him, and would have sunk him beneath the sea from the bright sky if not for Nyx, the goddess of night, who holds power over gods and men, and who rescued him in his flight. Though Zeus was angry, he feared to harm Nyx, and so let him be, held back by awe of the swift and dreadful power of night's displeasure. Nyx herself is a figure of great might and mystery, the mother of many dark and powerful beings who govern the harsh and inevitable aspects of life and death. From her came Moros, the hateful doom that brings death, and Ker, the black fate of death, as well as Thanatos, death itself. Along with these, Nyx bore Hypnos, the god of sleep, and the tribe of Oneiroi, the spirits of dreams who visit mortals in their rest. Nyx, although she lay with none, also gave birth to Momos, the spirit of criticism and blame, and Oisis, the painful goddess of misery, as well as the Hesperides, the evening nymphs who tend a golden orchard at the world's edge. She also brought forth the Moirai, or Fates, who control the thread of life for every mortal and immortal, as well as the ruthless Caries, spirits of violent deaths who bring bloodshed and destruction. Deadly Nyx bore Nemesis, the goddess who delivers retribution and punishes mortal pride and wrongdoing. And following her came Apate, the goddess of deceit, and Philotis, the spirit of friendship and affection. Nyx also gave birth to Geras, the personification of old age, and Eris, the hard-hearted goddess of strife who stirs conflict and discord among gods and men alike. The poet Hesiod calls Eris the elder daughter of dark Nyx, linking her directly to the powerful and shadowy forces of the night. In lyric poetry, such as the fragments of Bacchylides, Nyx is also the great-bosomed mother of Hecate, the torch-bearing goddess associated with magic, crossroads, and the night, further emphasizing the dark and mysterious realms that Nyx rules. In the tragic plays of Aeschylus, particularly the Eumenides, the Erinyes, also known as the Furies, daughters of vengeance, speak of Nyx as their mother, the dark mother who gave birth to them as retribution against those who harm the blind and the seeing, the just and unjust. The Erinyes call Nyx their eternal mother and invoke her power as Arai, curses that dwell beneath the earth and punish wrongdoing, thus linking Nyx closely to justice and divine retribution. They describe her as their dark mother, the source of their fearful power, and appeal to her for anger and justice against the deceits of the gods. The Erinyes also acknowledge their kinship with the Moirai, the Fates, as sisters born of Nyx, who together weave and enforce the unyielding laws of destiny. Ancient fragments and later writings confirm that while Hypnos, sleep, is often called a child of Nyx, in some accounts he speaks as if Nyx did not bring him forth to lull men to rest, suggesting variations in the myths surrounding these powerful figures. Nyx's role is vast and deep, as she embodies the night itself, the dark and silent time when many unseen forces come to life. She is not merely the absence of light, but a powerful mother of many gods and spirits who govern death, sleep, fate, and strife. Her influence stretches across the heavens and underworld alike, shaping the destinies of gods and mortals, ruling over the mysteries of darkness, and commanding respect even from Zeus, the king of gods. The presence of Nyx in Greek myth reveals an ancient understanding of night as a force of both fear and power, a source of many divine beings who embody the hidden and often harsh realities of existence. Through her children, the bringers of doom, sleep, dreams, misery, strife, and justice, Nyx shapes the world in profound ways, reminding all that the darkness holds as much significance as the light in the great balance of life. The Erinyes, known as the maiden daughters of Nyx, the night, hold a significant place within ancient Greek myth. According to the Greek poet Meyer, these fearsome goddesses of vengeance and retribution were born directly from Nyx herself, embodying the dark and relentless forces that punish wrongdoing. This connection is reinforced by Pausanias, who, in his description of Greece, tells us of an ancient depiction carved on the chest of Kypselos at Olympia. There, a woman is shown holding two children, one white and asleep on her right arm, and the other black, and also appearing to sleep on her left, their feet pointing in opposite directions. These figures are identified, even without the inscription, as Thanatos, death, and Hypnos, sleep, with Nyx as their nurse and protector. This image powerfully illustrates Nyx's role as the mother and guardian of death and sleep, linking her intimately to these inevitable parts of human experience. In another passage, Pausanias notes that the people of Smyrna believed in two nemeses instead of one and claimed Nyx as their mother, further highlighting her role as the source of divine justice and balance through her children. In Roman mythography, as presented by Pseudo-Hyginus, Nyx appears as Nox, born from Chaos and Kalagine, alongside other primordial forces such as Dis, day, Erebus, darkness, and Ether, upper air. From Nyx and Erebus came many powerful entities, including Fatum, fate, Senectus, old age, Mors, death, Latum, dissolution, Continentia, continence, Somnus, sleep, Somnia, dreams, and even Amor, love, known in Greek as Eros or by other names such as Lysimeles and Epiphron. Along with these came Discordia, discord, Miseria, wretchedness, Petulantia, wantonness, Nemesis, Euphrosyne, mirth, Amicitia, friendship, Misericordia, compassion, Styx, the three Parse or fates, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos, and the Hesperides, named Aigle, Hesperie, and Erica. This long list from Roman sources aligns closely with the Greek tradition, emphasizing Nyx's prolific role as the mother of many powerful and often contrasting divine forces that govern fate, death, sleep, dreams, love, strife, and justice. Cicero, writing in the 1st century BC, offers a reflective perspective on these genealogies. He reasons that if Ouranos, Caelus in Latin, is a god, then his parents and siblings must also be divine. Among these divine siblings are Aether, the bright upper air, and Dis, day, as well as a host of other personifications that ancient genealogists claim as children of Erebus, darkness, and Nyx, night. These include Amor, love, Dolus, guile, Metus, fear, labor, toil, Invidentia, envy, Fatum, fate, Senectus, old age, Mors, death, Tenebrae, darkness, Miseria, misery, Querella, criticism, Gratia, friendship, Fraus, fraud, Pertinacia, obstinacy, the Parcae, fates, the Hesperides, and the Somnia, dreams. Cicero presents this extensive list to illustrate the richness and complexity of ancient mythological family trees, emphasizing that these forces, both benevolent and terrible, are all born of the union of darkness and night. He suggests that one must either accept these monstrous and strange genealogies or reject the earliest cosmogonies altogether, showing how deeply interwoven these primordial deities are within the ancient understanding of the cosmos. This vast family of gods and spirits emerging from Nyx and Erebus reflects the ancient world's attempt to explain the forces that shape human life and the universe. Night and darkness give birth to the unseen powers that govern death and sleep, fate and love, strife and friendship, old age and dreams, and even deceit and criticism. The presence of these beings as children of Nyx underlines her nature as a source of both fear and protection, as well as the balance of light and dark, life and death, order and chaos. Nyx, though often unseen and dwelling in shadow, holds a central role in the mythological order, as the mother of many divine beings who influence the mortal and immortal worlds. From her come the inevitable realities of death and fate, the mysteries of dreams and sleep, the bonds of love and friendship, and the turmoil of strife and mischief. This narrative reveals the profound significance ancient cultures placed on the night and darkness, not just as mere absences of light, but as powerful forces that bring forth life's most essential and often troubling experiences. Thus, Nyx stands as a timeless figure representing the deep, hidden forces of the universe, shaping destiny and the human condition itself through her many divine children. The night-born sisters, known as the Erinyes in Greek and the Furiae in Roman myth, are divinities who are implacable and doom-laden, born of the dark and powerful goddess Nyx, Night herself. These fierce and relentless spirits of vengeance emerge directly from night, carrying with them the weight of retribution and punishment for those who commit wrongs. Ovid, in his Metamorphoses, describes these sisters as born from the night, their nature unyielding and tied to fate's harsh decrees. Virgil, in the Aeneid, depicts Aeneas offering a black-fleeced lamb to Nox, the Roman form of Nyx, acknowledging her as the mother of the Furiae, thus showing the reverence and fear inspired by these divine forces born of night. Further, Virgil tells us of two demon fiends known as the Furiae, born alongside the terrible Megaera, all three children of darkest night. These beings are described as being born with serpent coils entwined around them, and wings like the wind, swift and fearsome agents of punishment, their origin rooted deeply in the dark mystery of Nyx's realm. Seneca's tragedy Hercules Furens presents Somnus, or sleep, as the winged son of Astrea, an epithet for Nyx, and the brother of cruel Mors, death. Sleep is described as the vanquisher of woes and the rest of the soul, the better part of human life, highlighting the close relationship between sleep and death, both children of night, embodying the rest and the end that follow the trials of life. In the later Greek epic Dionysiaca by Nonnus, We learn of a plot involving Hypnos, sleep, who conspired with Hera to put Zeus to sleep so she could drive her stepson Dionysus mad. Zeus, angered by this betrayal, would have imprisoned Hypnos in the dark pit of gloom, Tartaros, to dwell alongside the shadowy figure Iapetos, if not for the prayers of Nyx, the vanquisher of gods and men. Nyx's intervention calms Zeus's wrath, showing the immense power and influence Night holds even over the king of the gods, able to protect her children and assert her authority in the divine realm. The figure of Nyx, goddess of the night, is also preserved in ancient art, such as an Athenian red figure pyxis lid fragment from the 4th century BC housed in the Ashmolean Museum, which attests to her lasting importance in Greek culture. The power of night is further illustrated in Homer's Iliad, where the shining light of the sun, Helios, is described as dipping into Oceanus, trailing black night across the land that produces grain. This poetic image captures the eternal cycle of day giving way to night, the dark blanket that covers the earth and ushers in rest, mystery, and the hidden forces that Nyx represents. Hesiod, in his Theogony, also speaks of Nyx, emphasizing the essential role night plays in the cosmos. The night covers the world, setting a rhythm to life, marking time's passage, and giving space for rest and renewal. Night, as Nyx, is a powerful and primordial figure from whom many dark and mysterious forces are born, shaping human fate and the natural order. Together, these ancient texts reveal Nyx as a mother of fearsome daughters and sons, divine beings who control sleep and death, fate and vengeance, and whose presence commands respect from gods and mortals alike. She stands as a symbol of the deep, dark forces that are part of the world's balance, the shadow to the sun's bright light, the unseen power behind the cycles of life and death, rest and action, order and chaos. Nyx's children, the Erinyes, Hypnos, Thanatos, and others, serve as reminders of the inescapable truths of existence, born of the night that envelops all living things. In these ancient stories and images, night is not merely absence of light, but a living divine force, a mother whose offspring govern the essential and often terrifying aspects of life, embodying justice, rest, death, and the hidden workings of fate. At the farthest edges of the world, where the sky meets the earth, there lie the beginnings and ends of the dark and gloomy lands, the misty realm of Tartaros, the barren sea, and the starry heavens above. These places are shadowed and damp, so loathsome and unwelcoming that even the gods themselves avoid them. There stands the fearful and terrible home of murky Nyx, the goddess of night, wrapped tightly in dark clouds that never part, guarding the mysterious and solemn powers she holds. Before her home stands Atlas, the son of Iapetos, who bears the heavy weight of the wide sky upon his unyielding head and tireless hands. Near this great threshold of bronze, the two eternal figures Nyx, the night, and Hemera, the day, meet briefly as they pass each other's paths. When one is leaving the house of the heavens to journey across the earth, the other waits inside. Never do they stay both at once within the house, for the order of the world demands that one gives way to the other. The one who steps outside holds the bright, all-seeing light that shines upon the earth, while the other remains wrapped in the silence and shadow of the home, holding in her arms her children Hypnos, sleep, and Thanatos, death, who are twin brothers and powerful gods born of night. Nyx herself is wrapped in a vaporous cloud, dark and mysterious, an evil and powerful force that commands awe and fear. It is in this shadowed place that the children of dark Nyx dwell, gods who are both awful and necessary, sleep and death, who come quietly to all living beings. The radiant sun god Helios never casts his shining beams upon this dark domain, neither when he rises to the sky in the morning nor when he sinks down again at sunset, for this place lies beyond the reach of light. From the other side, beyond even the pleasant fields of Elysium where blessed souls reside, Sluggish streams of night's dark gloom rise endlessly, spilling forth boundless shadows into the world. The many-faced Nyx, known for her dark blue-black headband, is often described in poetry and myth as wrapped in the many-eyed embroidery of darkness, her form veiled in a deep blue-black veil that seems to shimmer with countless unseen eyes watching silently through the night. She is the eternal presence who covers the earth in shadow, bringing rest and quiet, but also fear and the unknown. For where she rules, the light is absent, and the mysteries of night unfold. Thus, Nyx's realm is a place of secrets and powers beyond human sight, where sleep and death reign as her children, and where day and night meet briefly but never stay together, as the world turns in its endless cycle of light and dark, rest and waking, life and death. This great cosmic balance, with Atlas holding the sky and the interchange of night and day at the gate of bronze, sets the rhythm of the universe, governed by the dark goddess Nyx and her shadowy offspring, whose silent presence marks the eternal boundary between the known and the hidden, the living and the passing away. The choir leaders of the Hesperides, known as the Evenings, drive their two-horse chariot along the dark path of night, moving steadily toward the new turning point, where night, called Nyx, passes through the light-bringing radiance in the eastern air. This transition marks the moment when night gives way to the coming day, as she flies over the misty waves, serving as a guide for sailors who navigate the seas in darkness. The image of gold-flowered Nyx is one of great power and mystery, a goddess who moves with quiet strength through the heavens. In Aeschylus's works, Nyx is often praised as a kindly and sovereign force. For example, during the Greek celebration of the fall of Troy, which was captured by night through cunning, the Greeks honor Zeus, the king of gods, and night herself. They call her Nyx Philia, or kindly night, who has granted them great glory by casting a meshed snare over the towered walls of Troy, enabling their victory. This shows how night is not only a time of darkness, but also a powerful agent of change and success, capable of hiding actions from view and bringing about great outcomes. In another of Aeschylus's plays, Prometheus Bound, the car of Nyx is described as speeding on with darkness. This brief but vivid image gives a sense of night's unstoppable movement and presence as she drives forward, bringing the cover of darkness over the earth. The night is portrayed as a force that swiftly and surely spreads across the land, marking the end of the day and the beginning of rest and hidden things. Similarly, in a fragment from the lost play Heliades, also by Aeschylus, and preserved in Athenaeus's work, night is described as spangled-robed, or richly adorned with stars, veiling the brightness of the sun. This creates a vision of night as beautiful and majestic, dressed in a cloak of many colors that dim the light of the sun as it disappears from the sky. The stars that appear at night are like decorations on her garment, making the darkness more splendid rather than simply empty or frightening. Euripides, in his play Ion, adds another layer to the picture of night and the sun. He describes the West as the place where Hephaistos, the god of fire and craft, has made a bowl for Helios, the sun god. This golden bowl is where Helios rides as he crosses the great, swelling stream that surrounds the earth, called Okeanos or Oceanus, as he flees the gloom of holy Nyx, who rides her sable or black steeds. This tells of the sun's journey through the sky during the day and its return to the east at night, carried in a golden vessel away from the dark and powerful night. The imagery of night riding on black horses emphasizes her connection to darkness and mystery, a force both beautiful and solemn as she moves through the world. In Aristophanes' Thesmophoria Zeusai, the picture of the heavens is more complete and cosmic. There is a design woven into a cloth that shows Ouranos, or the sky, arranging the stars, called Astra, in a circle above the earth. Helios, the sun, is shown driving his chariot down to his last blaze of the day, followed by Hesperos, the evening star, marking the coming of night. Nyx is described here in her black cloak, driving a single pair of horses, with the stars following behind her. Among the stars are the Pleiades, in mid-course, and Orion the swordsman, both well-known constellations that move across the night sky. Above them is Arcturus, or Arcturus, waving his golden tail, a bright star guiding the night travelers. This scene portrays the entire cycle of day and night, showing how Nyx, night, is a vital part of the cosmic order. She follows the sun and evening star, bringing darkness and the stars in their courses, creating a rhythm in the sky that repeats endlessly. In all these ancient Greek texts, night is not just the absence of light, but a powerful goddess who moves with purpose and beauty across the heavens. She brings rest to the world, hides secrets and victories, and leads the stars in their endless dance. Whether speeding with darkness in a chariot, veiling the sun's brightness with a starry cloak, or riding black horses through the sky, Nyx stands as a sovereign figure, deeply connected to the cycles of time and nature. She is honored by the Greeks as both kindly and mighty, a divine presence who shapes the flow of day and night, weaving darkness into the fabric of the cosmos with grace and strength. Oh, the divine Nyx, the night, moves slowly and gracefully as she guides her chariot through the vast starry vault above, crossing the sacred realms of the aether, the bright upper air, and the mighty heights of Olympus. Her journey is measured and solemn, threading her way through the heavens with a quiet power that commands awe. In the evening, as the sun, Helios, sinks slowly beyond the farthest Ethiopian hills in the west, darkening the world beneath him, Nyx prepares herself, harnessing her team of horses to begin her reign over the night. As she takes up her position, she throws her shadow over the world, spreading darkness and calm across the earth, marking the passage of time from day to night. At the very edges of the world, where the great river Rhone rises near the gates and courts of Nyx, the river splits into 3 streams, one flowing into the wide waters of Okeanos, another into the Ionian Sea, showing how closely night's realm touches the borders of the earth and the seas. Nyx descends gently upon the world, putting an end to the activities of men, quietly casting her ban so that the earth may rest and sleep under her peaceful cloak. As dawn, Eos, sends her celestial beams to chase black night from the sky, the balance of day and night shifts once more, with light returning to the world and night retreating to the shadows. Among the stars, the constellation called the Altar holds a special place with ancient Nyx, as it weeps for the suffering of men and signals storms at sea. This constellation, watched closely by sailors, reflects Nyx's sorrow for those tossed and battered by the sea's dangers. When this sign appears in the sky, especially if surrounded by clouds yet shining clearly, it warns of storms driven by the autumn wind. Nyx herself kindles these signs of storm and danger, showing her care for toiling sailors and the forces of nature that challenge them. On nights that are clear and calm, Nyx reveals all her stars to the eyes of men, shining in their full brightness without any star dimmed, even when the moon is at mid-month and should obscure some of their light. All the stars, set in motion by Nyx, wheel aloft in the heavens, forming the great patterns and constellations that mark the night sky and guide men below. This power of night to gather and lead the stars is a sign of her dominion over the dark hours, a time when the heavens speak in silence and light flickers against the vast blackness. The stars themselves, wheeled by Nyx, tell the stories of gods and heroes, their shapes traced in light for those who watch through the long hours of darkness. Thus, Nyx rules the night with steady hands, her chariot moving slowly but surely through the celestial realms, bringing rest to the world, marking the edges of day and night, touching the rivers and seas, watching over those who travel by land and water, and filling the sky with stars, that glow with her divine presence. Her gentle descent invites sleep and silence. Her signs warn the mariners, and her stars guide all through the night, making her one of the most powerful and mysterious forces in the cosmos, forever weaving darkness and light in an endless dance across the heavens. As Eos, the dawn, cried in sorrow over the death of her son Memnon, her immortal tears flowed endlessly like a river overflowing its banks, soaking the dark earth around his fallen body. In this moment of deep anguish, Nyx, the night, grieved alongside her daughter, sharing in the pain of loss. The heavens responded to this sorrow by drawing a veil of mist and cloud across the stars, a gentle covering born from love and compassion for Erigeneia, the Lady of Light. As the sun plunged down into the vast stream of Okeanos, the great river that encircles the world, Nyx, dressed in sable black robes, rose and floated across the wide firmament, bringing her precious gift of sleep to the sorrowing mortals below. She spread darkness across the land, giving weary men and women release from their toil and granting rest to their aching bodies and minds. From broad Okeanos, night rose once more, flooding all the earth with darkness and freeing mankind from the labors of the day, her presence a soothing balm after hard work. Yet, as dawn rose again, the golden-throned Ios pushed back the kindly Nyx, sending her retreating into Erebos, the place of netherworld darkness, a shadowy realm where she would wait until the sun had passed and night could return. From Okeanos, the bright Ios ascended to the heavens, while Nyx sank down into chaos, the great void of chaos, making way for the new day and the light of the sun. This cycle of rising and sinking between night and dawn is captured in ancient art, such as a black figure Lekythos from Athens, which shows the eternal struggle and balance between darkness and light. In one vivid scene, the passion of Phaethon, the son of Helios, the sun, leads him to reckless daring as he attempts to drive his father's chariot across the sky. Unable to keep a firm rein, Phaethon falls from the heavens into the river Eridanos. As he falls, Nyx is seen driving Hemera, the day, from the noonday sky, making way for the darkness to return. The sun's burning orb plunges toward the earth, trailing after it the stars, the Astera, which begin their journey across the night sky. The Horai, the hours who keep the gates of the day, abandon their posts in haste and flee toward the rising gloom of night, signaling the end of daylight and the return of darkness. Another powerful image comes from a painting depicting the funeral of Memnon, where the deities of the sky, called daimones meteoroi, watch over the mournful scene. Eos, the dawn, grieving over her son's death, causes even Helios, the sun, to be downcast with sadness. In this time of sorrow, she calls upon Nyx, night, to come prematurely and cover the battlefield, so that she might steal away her son safely, with the consent of Zeus. And so, Memnon is taken from the sight of mortal men, removed quietly at the edge of the painting, hidden beneath the cloak of night. Through these stories and images, Nyx appears as a figure of deep compassion and strength. She shares in the pain of loss, bringing rest and sleep to those who suffer, and wielding her power over darkness with care and purpose. Her presence is intertwined with the cycles of day and night, the rising and setting of the sun, and the shifting of light and shadow that governs the lives of gods and mortals alike. Whether in the flowing tears of a mourning mother, the descent of the sun into the great river Okeanos, the swift retreat before the dawn, or the secret theft of a fallen hero's soul, Nyx stands as a guardian of the night, a gentle but mighty force who embraces sorrow, brings peace, and holds the stars within her vast, dark domain. In the ancient stories and images of the gods, Nyx, the night, is often shown not just as darkness itself, but as a figure in human form, watching over events with a quiet power and presence. In one ancient Greek painting, the infant Heracles wrestles with serpents sent to harm him. and nearby, Nyx is represented as holding a torch, shedding a gentle light upon herself so that the child's brave struggle does not go unseen. This light is not bright like the sun, but a soft, watchful glow that honors the courage of the child in the stillness of night. The Orphic hymns call Nyx the parent goddess and the source of sweet rest, the one from whom both gods and men first came into being. She is described as the blessed Kypris, known also as Aphrodite, adorned with starry light and dwelling in the deep silence of ebony night, a time when dreams and ease attend her dusky path. Nyx is the friend of mirth, dissolving worries and calming anxious thoughts, riding the earth on dark horses that carry her across the skies. She is goddess of shadows and illusions, her power gently dividing day from night by fate's decree, sending light to the deepest parts of the underworld, far away from mortal eyes. This force of night is wrapped in the adamantine bonds of necessity, a power that nothing can resist. Nyx is present to all who call on her with prayers, a beloved and respected goddess who offers friendly aid, helping to chase away the fears that twilight's dark shadows can bring. In the Roman poet Ovid's tales, night, called Nox, is described as reaching the far western shore of the world, the land of the Hesperides, where she departs from the sky just as dawn breaks and day begins anew. Near the land of the Cimmeri, a mysterious people living in darkness, there lies a deep cavern carved into a mountain, the secret home and sanctuary of Somnus, the god of sleep. Here the sun's bright rays can never reach, not at morning, noon, or evening. Instead, cloudy vapors rise, and a doubtful twilight hangs in the air. Silence fills this hidden place, broken only by the quiet flow of the river Lethe, the river of forgetfulness, which gently trickles over smooth stones and lulls all who hear it into a deep sleep. At the entrance to this cavern, lush poppies grow alongside many herbs, and from these plants, Nox distills a drowsy essence, sprinkling it across the darkening world to bring sleep to all living beings. The peaceful power of night is further described with Nox wearing a garland of poppies upon her calm brow, her presence trailing with the black shapes of Somnia, the dreams, as she approaches. These dreams follow her closely, filling the world with visions and restful sleep. Through these images and words, Nyx appears not just as the dark that falls when the sun sets, but as a nurturing, gentle goddess who watches over the world with quiet light, who brings rest and peace to the weary, and who cloaks the earth in a soothing shadow that comforts gods and mortals alike. She is a guardian of the night's mysteries, the source of dreams, and a figure both powerful and kind, guiding the world into the rest it needs to begin again with the dawn. At night, the goddess Nox, known to the Greeks as Nyx, holds sway over the world, and in her deep, silent dominion, she allows no rival sound to challenge her rule. Not even the crow of the crested bird, the rooster who dares to wake the warm day with its cry, so she has it silenced, slain beneath her stillness. As the long hours of night move on and the sky slowly begins to pale, the stars shine faint and few in the sinking heavens, their light gently retreating, and the wandering fires that Nox set upon the sky are drawn inward, fading as the new day is born. At the rear of the brilliant march of dawn comes Phosphorus, the morning star, the shining herald of Ios, following the last traces of night's retreat. Even Nox herself is seen in that quiet moment before the end of her rule, pausing in her slow-moving chariot, watching as her realm gives way to the brightness of day. With welcome comes Nox at each evening, bringing the soft shadows that lead the stars into view, wrapping the world once more in her cool, silent embrace. Beneath her cover, secrets and spells stir, as when Medea, the Colchian sorceress, walks under the veil of night, chanting her magic into the darkness, and even Nox, hearing these strange invocations, recoils in awe and slows her heavy shade, thick and unnerving. There are times when the very presence of dark forces unsettles even the sun, and when one of the dread Erinyes rises from Hades, day, equated with shining Helios, feels her terrible presence, and Nox quickly casts her pitch-black cloud before his brilliant chariot, startling his shining steeds, cutting off his light. Sleep, or Sopor, the gentle god who so often walks with Nyx, is shown driving her horses, guiding the chariot of night across the sky, bringing rest not just to humans but to all that breathes. When Nox begins her passage, she throws a dewy covering over the light of the sun, spreading her shadow wide over the earth, and in this time, peace settles in. Beneath her cloak, the world eases into quiet. Under her western reign, as she returns from her completed course, the stars begin to set, and the moment arrives when great Tethys, goddess of the sea, urges forth Hyperion the sun from the eastern waters, urging the light to rise once more. But until then, Nox reigns, and during her time all that lives is touched by her influence. When she comes, she soothes the minds of men, easing their thoughts and giving their bodies to rest. The wild beasts that wander through forests and plains also find stillness as Nox lays her gentle control upon them. Overhead, she wraps the sky in her dusky covering, a dark and quiet comfort that stretches from horizon to horizon. To all, her presence brings calm, not just the quiet of sleep, but the kind of stillness that makes the world pause, the kind of silence that allows dreams to bloom and the cares of waking life to slip away. This is Nox, the night, who rides behind the stars, who hides the sun, who walks alongside sleep and dream, who quiets the wind, who listens to magic, who rules the space between sunset and dawn with a power that is quiet, deep, and constant. O Nox, the great goddess of night, who stretches her dark cloak over the weary earth and sky, who grants relief to the tired and brings calm to the restless. She comes when the sun has run its long course across the heavens, casting her soft and silent presence over all things, allowing the stars to begin their glowing paths across the sky. She is the giver of gentle sleep and the restorer of minds worn down by toil, a kind and noble force who watches over both gods and mortals alike until the bright sun rises once again to stir faint hearts with new hope and light. To her, houses and cities offer their worship as the year turns in its never-ending circle, and in her name, black bulls of fine form are brought as sacrifices, given in reverence, their pure entrails burned by the fire of Vulcanus, whose flames consume them while new milk flows in the sacred rites, a stream of offering to the night who watches all. Nyx, the gentle end of day, is the one who comes after the chariot of the sun has finished its burning journey, and as his brightness fades, she quietly lifts herself up from the earth into the sky, like a dark flame rising, and wraps the heavens in her star-covered robe, each gleaming point a witness to her coming. With her presence, she brings the release from effort and opens the gates of dreams, two great doors through which pass visions and shadowy images, the soft travelers of the night. In her stillness, the silent goddess marks the time of longing and hidden desire, and even the great Zeus turns his gaze to her to count the hours, waiting for the soft fall of Hesperos, the evening star, asking when the golden dawn will retreat and jealous Eos will step aside, for it is under the watchful torch of Nyx that he wishes to visit the one he loves. So she is called to lift her torch and light the path not only for lovers, but for all who move in the secret hours, for wanderers and dreamers and gods alike. And so Nyx, in silence, veils the western sky with the rich black of her own color, deep and still. And over the heavens she spreads her starry cloak, drawing lines across the night with quiet brilliance, shaping the night with a soft hand and marking the world with peace. In this time when she reigns, all is calmed, and the weight of the day is lifted. The breath of the world slows, and the mind is stilled. It is her moment, the sacred time of the dark, not as an end, but as a passage, a time to rest and to dream, to forget the burning sun and to dwell in quiet and shadow. She is the queen of that hush that falls on fields and oceans, the mistress of the glowing stars and of the deep, slow hours. She is the one who ends the day not with finality, but with care, a gentle turning of the world from noise to quiet, from light to calm. She is night, and her name is worshipped in the hush of sacrifice, in the soft beat of dreams, and in the slow rhythm of stars moving through the sky. Quiet Nyx, the great night, covered the whole earth in her dark veil, her soft shadow falling over all things, silent and deep, as the light faded away and the world entered into her stillness, under her darkness, when the moon Luna shone in her full brightness across the sky. Medea, the witch, moved alone through the silence of midnight. She walked her wandering path under the stars, untouched by the world around her. And when all was quiet, she lifted her arms to the heavens, turning herself 3 times, and then 3 times she poured water over her hair, and 3 times she let out a long, mournful cry. Then she knelt on the cold, hard ground and spoke her words to the hidden forces. She called out to Nyx, mother of mysteries, who rules over the unseen world, and to the golden stars that light her path, and to Hecate, who shows herself in 3 forms, and to Earth, the bringer of herbs with secret powers, and to all the gods of the night, asking for their help. She called on them to give strength to her spells, to shake the earth and bring the dead out of their graves. And she lifted her voice even to Luna, the bright moon, demanding she withdraw, even as the beating of bronze gongs tried to calm her. She said that even her own grandfather, the sun Helios, grew dim under the strength of her enchantments, and even the dawn itself, Aurora, turned pale before her poison's reach. And elsewhere, in another time, the witch Circe worked her magic too, spreading dark powders and foul herbs in a circle, their smoke rising into the night. She called out to Nox again, and to the gods who move only in the dark, and she cried to Hecate with a long and wailing voice. Then the ground itself groaned, the woods pulled away in fear, and pale colors ran through the grass. Drops of blood stained the earth, stones moaned and howled, dogs barked wildly into the night, black snakes poured out of the soil, and ghostly shadows floated through the air in silence, drawn by the power of the dark rites. And Nyx, the quiet goddess of night, watched it all with her calm and endless eyes, holding the world in her hush, cloaked in stars, hidden in stillness, wrapped in mystery and shadow. Medea, walking in the silence of night, turned her feet toward the river of her homeland, the flowing Phasis, and with solemn steps began her dark ritual, offering a fruitless sacrifice to Nox, the goddess of night, who brings terror with her shadowed power. She called on the night not with hope but with fear, and gave her offering even as it brought no result. For Nox, silent and vast, does not answer lightly. In Megara, the ancient city in the south of Greece, there stood on the high citadel still called Caria, the marks of old worship, and among the sacred places stood the temple of Dionysos Nyctelios, the one who is worshipped by night, the god of wine in his dark form, the god whose rites are held under cover of stars. Close by was the shrine of Aphrodite Epistrophia, the one who turns the hearts of men toward desire, and there too stood an oracle of Nyx, where seekers came to speak to the darkness and listen for answers from the unseen goddess who lives beyond light. Nearby also rose a temple to Zeus Konios, the dusty one, who ruled with no roof above his altar, open to sky and wind. There too were images of Asclepios and Hygeia, the god of healing and the goddess of health, shaped by the skilled hand of Bryaxis, and in that same place stood the chamber of Demeter, said to have been built by Car when he ruled as king. an echo of worship long past. Far away in the heart of Rome, the rite of Lemuria was kept. The ancient rite performed in the silence of May, on the 9th day, under the name of Nox Lemuria, a time when the living gave offerings to the silent dead. It was Nox who ruled those hours, as the rites passed in stillness, and the gifts were made for the speechless shades who lingered. In yet another place and in another time, there rose the voice of one who honored Nox with words of devotion, calling her the one whose shadow brings rest, whose cloak covers all, who is worshipped through the turning years. The voice promised that always, as the cycle of the year returned, the house would give her honor and hold her high. It would bring her sacrifice, not just any, but black bulls of special beauty, chosen and offered to her as to the gods of the deep, the chthonic powers who dwell in the hidden places. And the fire of Vulcanus would burn the sacred parts of the animals, the fire touching the entrails, and the stream of new milk poured over them, all done for the sake of the night goddess who watches in silence and does not forget those who remember her.